Hey, good morning, guys. Mr. Catlin here with you on NTI day number 4, and I am looking at your assignment for today. And I noticed that it's all about percentages, things that we've talked about before. And so I made a little printout of the questions. I'm not sure, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong here, send me a message. I don't know if these are in the order that you're asked them or not. They may get shuffled. I can't remember what the settings were like. So if they're not in the same order, I apologize, but I think you guys can figure out if you need help in that regard. You can just kind of look at this video and be like, okay, that's the one where it asked about this, so on and so forth. So I'm going to jump right in and start with the first question. So the first one says, what is 10% of the number 50? So most of these I'll just demonstrate with a quick double number line to help you guys visualize what's happening here. So if we set up our double number line for this particular problem, of is your total number that lands at 100%, and they're looking for 10% of it. So as always, you can cross multiply the 10, 50, and then divide by the 100 to find out what this is. This is actually a mental one too. 10% is just taking a tenth of whatever you have. So you think, how many times will 10 go into 50? And it makes sense that it lands at the 5 on the double number line. You also would have gotten that if you would have cross multiplied and divided. So I thought I had my calculator pulled up, but I guess I don't. I'm gonna go ahead and do that while I'm thinking about it. Go over here to the calculator and pull that up. That way, if we need it, it will be ready to go. So let's go back to the questions. And number 2, numero dos. Hey, what's up, buddy? My little man over here is eating, and he's got a big piece of bread in his mouth. Oh, he's chewing on it and staring me down. It's a little bit concerning, but okay. All right, so there's the calculator. It just took it a minute to pull up. And number 2 wants to know, let me draw the double number line set up for it. It says 20 is 25% of what number? So if I'm setting it up, got my 100%. We got a 25% part of the question. And we don't know we don't know the total. So we don't know what this is. But we do know that 25% is 20. So you could even do this one with kind of skip counting. You think, okay, 50% would be double what 25% would be. So double the 20 would be 40. 75% would be another 20. Skip counting by 20s here. So that would be 60. And then that means the question mark would be 80. So you could do it like that. You also could have done 20 times 100. You could have cross multiplied there and then divided by 25. That also would have given you 80. So number 2 there is 80. And let's continue on. What is 3/4 written as a percentage? Okay, so a couple of different ways we could think about this one. I think a lot of you would probably know that this is mental, but let's do another double number line just to show what they're talking about here. So if your number line is talking about 3 out of 4, you're talking about 1 here, quarter of the way, 2, 3. You're talking about this part. And if this was a percentage that you're talking about, and the total 4 is 100, then you're trying to find this. So you can set it up like this and cross multiply and divide and find out that it's 75%. Another thing that you could do is you could take the fraction and think of it, okay, 3/4 is the same as what out of 100? Because that's all percentage is a number that's out of 100. So 4 times what would get me to 100? Well, that would be 25. So you could multiply 3 times 25. And that would get you the answer of 75% that way too. So lots of different ways to think about this. You could skip count by 25s and land there like this on the double number line, or you could think of this proportion that I set up over here. All right, and the last one for this page. 10 people are asked if they agree that there should be more school days. Of these, 5 responded yes. What percent agreed? Well, I think most of you guys know that 5 out of 10 is the same as halfway. So you could think of it, all right, what did I do to that to get to 100? I multiplied by 10. So this has to be 50% of the people agreed. They responded yes. So that's pretty easy. Let's go on to number 6, go on to the next problem. The next one that I got to pull up here is number 5 on my list, or number 6 on my list, sorry. And it might be different than the ones that you're looking at. I don't know if the order is the same, as I mentioned earlier. So let's pull this out to the side, give us some space to write. All right, number 6. A store offers a discount of $13 for every purchase of $50. What is the percent discount? Okay, so let's set it up and see. We know that the total is 50, so that's our full amount. And we also know that the part is 13, so half of that would be at 25, so 13 would be kind of right in here, right? And so the question is, what percentage are we talking about? It looks like a pretty low percentage, definitely less than halfway. So we can cross multiply and divide, find out what that is. Let's do that this time with the calculator. So when we say cross multiply and divide, essentially what we're doing is we're multiplying the numbers that are diagonal in our double number line, and then we divide by the number that's left over here. So I'll show you what that looks like in the calculator. 13 times 100, and then you divide by 50. And you get 26. So this one is 26 here for the offer. Another way you could have thought about that, and the way that I do because it's faster, is we want to get this fraction, 13 out of 50, to a fraction out of 100. So boom, 100 on the bottom, double. If you double 13, you get 26. Right? So that's another way to think about it. Much faster that way. All right, next one is very similar, 13 out of 25. Actually, since I just showed you that version, let's do this. Catherine notices 13 of her 25 fish have a white spot. What percentage of her fish have a white spot? So if 13 out of 25 have a white spot, my question is how many out of 100 would? And so we can multiply 25 times 4 to find out what that is. It's kind of like using a constant of proportionality. And 13 times 4 turns out to be 52. And so that's your percentage right there, D. All right, let's move on. Number 8. Alex had to pay 16% sales tax on a souvenir. So what percentage of the original value did he pay in all? Okay, so if you remember a percent increase and decrease, taxes go over the 100. So if we had a double number line set up for this, we would be thinking, okay, this is what he paid for the whole thing, and then this would be with tax over here, extra added on. And so if the extra added on was 16%, then the with tax would be 116% of what the whole was. So that's the number we're looking for here on number 8. It's B. Last weekend, Nick bought a video game that had a discount of 62%. What percent of the original value did he pay? Well, let's look at this visual. All right, so here's my number line. Here is 100%. Okay, so similarly to the last problem, since we had a tax that added on and gave us 16% extra, this is a discount and it's 62% off. So we want to go 62% down and find out what we have left. Get it, bud? Yes, I know. Okay, so 62% down would give me 100 minus 62, which turns out to be right here at 38%. So this is what he saved. This section right here would represent what he saved, and this section would represent what he had to actually pay. It was a very horrible drawn box. I apologize for that. So pay, saved. And it asks what percent of the original value did he pay? So that's what we're looking for, which is the 38%. All right, number 10. Donald read 25% of his favorite book. What percent of the book does he have left to read? So I think that's pretty obvious. If you have, let's just go single number line here. If you're going from, if you want to get to 100% of the full book read, and you've only made it to this part, then how much do you have left? That's kind of the question here. And you can see it's just a basic subtraction problem. 100 minus 25. So that would be 75% left. Man, we're moving fast. Okay, last few questions. And let's look at them. So starting with number 11. So let's jump to number 11. Zoom out there so you can see it a little bit better. Give me some space to write. All right, what is 64 hundredths written as a percent? Now, when I said that, I kind of gave away the answer. 64 hundredths as a percent is simply just 64 per 100%. So there you go. That's simple enough. What is 2 out of 5 written as a percent? Okay, the number line can help you out here if you struggle with fractions. Okay, anytime they give you a fraction, they're giving you the part and the whole for the top part of your number line. So we're thinking 0 to 5, and we're going to split this up 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 is your 100%, and of course your 0. All right, and their question is, okay, what is 2 out of 5? So the 2 out of 5 would be right here. The question is, what percentage is that? And so lots of different ways you can figure that out. You could 2 times 100 and then divide by 5. Okay, you can figure it out that way. Classic. Or you could, like we did before, 2/5. Could we rewrite that out of 100? And yeah, we could. It'd be like skip counting by 20s. It would be like skip counting by 20s. So this would be 20%. This would be 60. This would be 80. And you can see that clearly the answer is 40 because of the skip counting action. So 40%. All right, number 13. What is 36% written as a decimal? So anytime they give you a percentage and you want to write it in decimal form, what I would say is just start by putting it in fraction. So like 36% is 36 per 100. So really, this is the same as 36 hundredths. And if you say that, if you say 36 hundredths, and you know your place value, you know that that is this number right here. 36% is the same as 36 hundredths is the same as 0.36. Okay, and then lastly, the very last problem, number 14. What is 60% written as a fraction? So we got to write it as a fraction. So once again, I'd recommend saying it 60 per 100. And then you've got some reducing that you could do, but I don't believe that they give a reduced form in this. So they don't. They just have you select either. You could technically reduce it to 6/10, which goes down to 3/5. As we saw, it's the same up here. 3 out of 5 is 60%. But they want you to keep it in fraction form unsimplified, and so that would be D in this case, 60 hundredths. And that's all I've got for your video here today, guys. If you have any questions or you feel like there's one of them was wrong on the quizzes, let me know. Send me a message. I'll try to fix that to let other students be aware. I do have a meeting today at 11 o'clock. If you want to come to that, every day I'm going to meet at 11. Just drop in, say hi. You don't have to stay the whole time. And have a great day.